What's good, everybody? Welcome to season 2 of Black Men Need Love 2. Welcome to episode 2, which is Black Boys and Black Men Mental Health Matters. Thank y'all for tuning in with us again. Season 2 has been off to a kickstart. If you've seen season 1 episode, which is Black Men and Black Women, that aired about 2 weeks ago, then you will surely know that this season is going to be filled with a lot of guest speakers, a lot of interesting topics, and we are just going to keep it as raw, open, and transparent as possible. So for today's episode, we're talking about mental health, especially for our Black boys and our Black men, only because this is a very, a very important topic. So I do have two great guest speakers here with me today. I want to let them introduce themselves and let them tell us a little bit about themselves as well. As y'all always know, and as I always tell y'all, these conversations are very transparent. Nothing is off limits, and nothing is has any bars to it. We're going to be very raw, raunchy, transparent, and just give it to you straight and to the point. Pretty much ain't no lube attached. We just going in straight without it. So that's how I always say. Y'all know I love to keep it true. So I'm going to let our guest speakers kind of introduce themselves, and then we'll go from there with this whole little podcast.
Justice, you want to go
Okay,
first?
well, I'll go first. Sure. Well, my name is Justice. I'm so happy to be here. What else do you want to know about me in this
What,
little introduction?
what should they know about you?
I mean, they should know that I'm a singer, a songwriter, man of many talents, man of many hats, a Charlotte native,
There we
one
go.
of the few. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, what else? I'm a
Justice
lot
is
of
the
things.
Justice is the Latavia of the group, y'all. So the Farah. Sometimes we ought to send luggage. This is gonna get
Wow.
that since he keep asking what we need to know about him. He's a singer,
Ooh,
a songwriter, the Farah.
wow.
His luggage has been
The
sent to
fa-
him, but we love him regardless.
the Pharaoh. Okay.
The Farah.
Well,
Yeah.
somebody
Okay.
loves Sarah outside.
There we go. That's okay. That's justice. So our next guest speaker.
I'm Richard Williams. I am a psychoeducator, um, uh, Buddhist practitioner, tantric practitioner, yogi, very much earthly hippie vibes. That's all me. Very much into helping people feel better about themselves. So that's what I do most of the day.
Okay, and y'all already know who I am. I'm your boy, Dr. Cloud. You won't need to go through all my qualifications and my titles. Y'all just need to know that I'm still that nigga, being that nigga, always will be that nigga. But I'm also very professional, depending on when you catch me. Don't let the doctor fool you at all. I'm still a
Okay.
hood right at heart. So, thank y'all for being here today. Like, this brings me so much joy because I know both of you. I've interacted with both of you. And so I know that y'all will bring to this conversation some very real world experiences. So let's just kind of hop into it. Like I said, these conversations are very raw, transparent. I don't ever want them to feel non-organic. So when we talking about black boys and black, ooh, excuse me, I had the burp. When we talk about black boys and black men mental health matters, and anyone of y'all can answer this question. What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear a statement like that? Black boys and black men's mental health matters. Like, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear that?
Well, for me, I personally think it is something that, needs to be, normalized because it's not in the Black community. It's very much taught in, majority of the Black community that, you know, just pray it away or, it'll go away on its own or, whatever, that doesn't have to do with addressing the actual aspect of mental health. Do whatever needs to be done to not address it because we don't do that. We don't talk about it. We keep it in the family and all of this other stuff. So it does matter. And I think that it needs to be normalized so that we can break that cycle of just pray it away or we ain't got to talk about it or just kind of brush it under the rug.
Okay.
I definitely echo that. I think for me, it's also more of a targeted comment to the black men and black boys that your mental, like your feelings matter, your thoughts matter, as do your behaviors, right? And like really letting that just sink in. It matters. Whatever is going on here matters.
Okay. And so I heard some interest. You said we try to pray it away. Okay. Try to pray it away. Y'all didn't know I was a singer back in my whole life. I used to go to school with Aretha.
I mean, I can get you on a background gig every now and then. You know, just let me know.
Okay. Anyways, but no. So seriously, I'm listening to both of you, and you both have said something very interesting to me, that your behaviors matter, trying to pray it away and stuff like that. Why do we often think, and I don't know, maybe this is my spirit, that anytime we talk about mental health issues for black men or black boys, that the first thing we do is we try to take it to the church. Like, why is it that the first thing we do is we say, go to God about it, pray about it, God will fix this behavior? Why is that the first thing that we do? And only because growing up, I wasn't always this, this guy that most people see now, this very professional guy, this very guy who is aware of his emotions. I had like the worst temper like growing up, and I still do have a temper now, even though I'm older, but I'm able to control it now. But when I was younger, my temper was so bad that it was always like, take it to the church, take it to God, and you gotta heal it. But we never really took the time to be like, maybe there's something else going on that could be affecting him in his temper. But we just gonna go straight to the church. Why do we think that that's such a common thing in the black community that the first thing we gonna say is go to church about it? And I ain't trying to knock nobody religion, so
Okay.
because the girls love to tussle, and baby, don't tussle with me because I got bill money, so there's a difference. So before y'all get on here trying to tussle with me, I got bill money. I'm gonna be out by the next day, so I don't know what to tell y'all. but we respect everybody's religion. We just talking about it.
Well, I mean, again, thank you for leading with that because I don't want to step on nobody's toes about anybody's religion. But for me, I think that religion for the black community was something to further indoctrinate slavery. But we ain't gonna get too deep in that. But I just feel like religion is that thing that in slave times, it was presented as, lean on this and you have some glimmer of hope in all of this tragedy you have going on in your life. And it carried down through generations because therapy was never taught. So it's like, your grandma then prayed away the demons of, your mama having a baby out of wedlock or whatever it is, not specifically you, but you know what I'm saying? It just gets passed down. And it just becomes a thing of like, we always done it like this. So why would we, and I'm still here and look at me, look how it turned out, but we're not really addressing anything. It's been pushed under the rug and covered by religion. But again, not trying to step on nobody's toes, but that is just my observation.
Oh, come on, somebody.
I think I have a slightly different experience because I didn't grow up in the church.
Okay.
I think the first time I stepped foot in the church was maybe 18 or 19 years old. Right. So it just wasn't, that wasn't a thing that we did. And I can kind of reflect on the distinct difference and kind of bring in that bit of, because I have my own diagnoses. And so when bipolar and whatnot was starting to really show, most people are looking at me like, what's all this? Right? And it wasn't a go pray it away. It was like, go handle that. But either way, I'm noticing that theme of go somewhere. Right? Like you got to go to this person or go to that person. Why aren't we saying, hey, what do you think about it? And that's where I think, because the spirituality piece has been really important. You can't heal without a spirituality piece. Like you can't. So, like coming at it, I think at a different side, it's really important either way to kind of hold how like spirituality helps us cultivate hope in a lot of ways. Because like going back to times of enslavement and prior before that, like when stuff got real and everything around you is burned, like you need you need something to like, right? There you go. But it is interesting, especially given the history of the United States Black Church, and how we say go pray it away with certain emotional concerns or behavioral concerns. It's like, well, is that the safest place to go and like talk?
Woo! Ooh, Lord. Yes.
He is piping hot. Oof.
Okay, listen, that's the type of tea that you gotta take. You gotta blow on for a minute because I don't know what to tell you. Because
Mm,
it's both y'all are giving me different experiences, and that's what I'm enjoying about this conversation is because Richard said that he didn't enter church at 18 to 19, so it was different. You being in the church, just like I grew up in the church, by the grace of God, I'm not a PK kid because y'all know PK kids are just
ooh, ooh.
that's a whole different topic for a whole nother day. Because PK
Right.
kids, I don't know what happened there. God turned that switch around, but both of y'all had said something that was interesting that we try to make it go away. We shoo it away, right?
Mhm.
And and especially Richard, thank you for sharing with us, about your mental health diagnosis. And I, thank you for allowing us to be that safe space. But I never understood why do we try to shoo it away? It's like, do y'all not understand that when we are shooing away black men, who especially those who are in need, that we are actually adding to the problem of that the mental health issue is not being addressed? And Richard also said something about spirituality. Let me tell you, if it wasn't for my God,
Mm,
and this is I can say this right because you had to have some type of spirituality because there have been many times where certain things I have done in life I have always questioned how I have made it out of those situations.
my
And
God.
exactly, but it's true because have you ever thought about it and you say to yourself, I'm having this mental health episode or I'm having this breakdown. There's nobody here. I got to lead on my spirituality. And somehow you don't made it out. Like you trying to figure out how in the hell did I make it over? And I always tell people, I used to suffer from suicidal ideation, and I used to tell people this, when I was younger, suicidal ideation was just, but we didn't have a name for it, right? Because we didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it was. Depression. When I graduated from grad school, I started suffering from depression. Didn't know exactly what it was. I just knew that I was sad a lot. But it was out of my nature for somebody who is usually very happy, very energetic, to go to sleeping a lot, not interacting a lot, and just sad out of the blue. And we thinking, oh, it's grad school depression. I haven't found a job. When I find a job, it'll get better. Get a job, my life gets better, but still, it's not that. And so it just was like, well, what is this exactly? So, what exactly, and for y'all, what exactly do you believe has kind of helped y'all make it over? Like, what has helped you make it
Uh,
over? And anybody can go.
um, well, Richard, you want to go?
Sure. I think for me, I I'll tell you the ending for the beginning, and I talk in circles. So just, we're gonna come right back here in a minute. But we don't. We push people and we move away from our emotions because we don't understand them,
Mm,
and they're overwhelming. And when we are flooded with anything for too long, even joy, right? If you're really happy for too long, you kind of get a little nervous for a second. You're like, wait, right?
Hmm.
You don't know what to do with it, and you're like, oh my god, get it out, or get it to go. But when we look around, due to the social political context of our state, like nobody really knows what they're feeling. Nobody knows what that sensation is, right? That tingling in their left toe when they're angry or whatever. Like nobody knows, and so we run. We run from what we're afraid of.
mm.
Hmm. Okay.
Go,
Uh,
go ahead, because
uh,
you don't say the word, and I'm a
right.
I'm a
I'm
Google in
sitting,
a minute.
I'm sitting here like you are literally speaking my truth. Like, um, for most of my life, I didn't know, what was wrong. I didn't know, what I was feeling. I just knew that it was, I don't know if I was a big fan of it. Um, but now that I'm getting older and being able to articulate, and deal with my mental health, um, I think what's, helped me through that journey is just kind of like having those difficult conversations with myself and other people and setting boundaries and not feeling and getting over feeling bad for setting boundaries. Because that is something I struggle with, setting boundaries and sticking to it. But the more I practice setting them and sticking to them, the more peace I find in my life, and just surrounding myself with people who kind of feed this new version of myself. I guess if you want to call it like a new version, like a healing version, because healing isn't linear, and I probably will never be done healing from a lot of stuff. But like people who embrace this new version of like, he does things a little bit differently now that he's, gone through some things and dealt with some things. He does things a little bit differently, and I embrace that. I'm not going to look at him differently because he's not the old Justice that I used to fuck with from around the way. Like I'm dealing with that with family now who are looking at me sideways because yeah, we're family and we're supposed to deal with things this way, but I don't deal with things that way. And that's why we're in this cycle of unhappiness and undealt with trauma and whatever you want to call it, that's manifesting in other ways. Because that's how you choose to deal with things. That's how you choose to keep moving through life as if nothing has ever bothered you or nothing has ever, scarred you. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to face it. I'm going to deal with it and, surround myself with people who are okay with like, this is how he deals with things. I respect that. I respect that boundary. Cool. Like I surround myself with that. Then I don't have to, constantly think about, what they think about me or, how do they feel or, do I got to please somebody? I can live my life in peace and I don't have to, perform for anybody. Yeah, I can just be me. So that's what's helped me, just kind of setting boundaries and sticking to it.
Woo!
Oh yes,
the Lord, y'all. No, y'all are saying some very good things, and Richard said something earlier, and I always used to wonder that too. Is if I'm happy for too long, it gets weird. Because I'm like, I've been happy too long. Like, why am I so like? Okay, is something going to happen now? Like, is all this happiness going to lead to some type of sadness soon? And I think because I'm so accustomed to sitting in a negative emotion that it took me a while to figure out that I can be happy and my happiness does not have an end date. And I don't have to always be like, oh, well, clearly if something good is happening, that means something bad is going to happen right after. And it was as I got older, it was getting out of that mindset of, I'm too happy, so that means some shit finna hit the fan, right? And that's just how I always used to look at it. And both of you are talking about mental health and how your mental health has you got better at managing it. And so when we're talking about black men, we also got to talk about black boys as well, because for some reason we love to diagnose or give black boys mental health diagnosis before they're even old enough to understand what they are, right? And me and Richard are both Richard psychoeducation, me a social worker, both in the same field, human behavior. But one thing I've always noticed that when we tend to give these labels to black boys of ADHD, ADD, and we start to tell them that you being hyperactive, you doing all of this, it starts to kind of fester in their head, and then it kind of starts to show up in adulthood, right? So this kind of from y'all perspective, like how do y'all feel, or what do you think, when we are telling our young black boys this, because we were once young black boys. So what do you feel is like, what is the issue that kind of arises from giving our young black boys these mental health diagnoses before they're old enough to really fully understand what it entitles? These labels, I guess, predominantly because nobody likes labels. I don't like labels. People always be like, he just got the worst temper. I'm labeled as just having being a mean ass. I am a mean ass, but it depends on the circumstance of me being a mean ass. So, it's just I'm very straight to the point, and anybody who knows me knows that I have no filter. But it's only because I believe that the truth is better than just sitting here and lying to you, because it solves nothing, and then it just makes the situation longer than necessary.
I could go on a tangent about label kids, especially medicalized labels that just can create and sustain the school to prison pipeline. Yes. But I won't go on that soapbox. I'm going to step off because I was starting to get on. I think, especially working, I spent 10 years in the classroom with students, typically in urban settings, with severe psychiatric diagnoses. We're talking schizophrenia, 9-year-olds with full bipolar, hallucinogenic, like the whole, we're there, right? Right, we're here. this is where I taught for 10 years, and the labels were a thing where we were just kind of like, all right, this is what we use to tell the world how to respect your boundaries and where they kind of start and stop, just so you know, just the ground rules. But we pushed further with the students of like, what is sadness to you? And really talking with them and like, what does it mean for you when you hear sad? What does it feel like? What do you taste? What do you smell? You know, all those sorts of things.
Yes.
Because I think it helps people accept, just like, I mean, you can't escape your brain. You can't. So like, you got to befriend it and just understand it so you can act more skillfully and less reactive.
Yes. Okay.
I feel like when you're giving all of this, giving all these labels to younger children, well, younger boys, it creates a sense of, and I'll speak from personal experience that I had to kind of get out of. It creates this insecurity of like, well, I've been diagnosed with, ADHD, or I've been diagnosed with this, I've been diagnosed with that, and now I'm inferior to, somebody who doesn't have that. Or why you start questioning yourself, like, why does my brain work like this? And and my parents aren't teaching me to accept it or embrace it, or to help me through with it. So it's just like, now I'm to myself, and now I'm like, I'm sheltered, and I don't know how to deal with my emotions and my feelings. But the older I get, like you said, it manifests into other things, whether it be abusing your partners, or whether it be just to kind of prove yourself to, like, I'm not inferior like they told me I was as a child. So I feel like when you create these like labels at a young age, it gives that, like, that monkey that's always on your back, like, you're not as good as you think you are, because you remember when you was in second grade, and they said that you was this, you remember when you was in you remember when they said this about you. It kind of sticks with you if you don't ever address it. So instead of giving labels to young children, I feel like there should be more conversations about their emotions, and maybe it don't even have to do with anything mental. Maybe it just
We have lost justice.
I like what he said about that sense of insecurity building and that hierarchy. 'Cause I think that's something that, especially even as an adult, I still struggle with. Right, being in some of the ivory tower, right, and I have diagnosis, but my brain works very differently than a lot of people, and I am constantly wondering, like, but like, I'm really here with y'all, normal, like, typical, whatever that is, that right. I'm here because, like, y'all talking to, like, I gotta go to sensory deprivation for a little while and, like, hug what's going on, right? But and then that inferiority thing, and I think that's something really important to add on to the inferiority complex that a white society already puts on black boys in school. Like, they're already less than from the white gaze. And then we're going to put on these labels that even from the white gaze are like catastrophic, right? So how much further harm are we going to do until we actually slide into these little kindergarten and third grade classes and go, hey, baby, what's wrong? How are you? How can I help you be great?
So,
a word. A word.
Oh, it is, and this conversation is very interesting. So let me ask y'all this, and like I said, we're gonna be very transparent, very, very open, very raw. So how do you think, or how does your mental health affect your sex life? Do you believe it does not affect your sex life because you are able to maintain easily? And the reason I'm asking is because a lot of times when we're looking at unaddressed mental health or mental health that has been addressed for black men, we have to look at sex in the middle of that, because depression. Like, for instance, I've learned that when I'm depressed or when I'm dealing with something very, like, when I'm hurting or trying to heal something, I cannot have sex. Like, I just cannot get to the finish line, and it's something I had to realize a long time ago. Like, okay, I'm depressed. We're trying to have sex. I can't stay up I don't have ED, but I don't know what's going on. Whole time is because I'm depressed, so my body is just not in the mood for sex right now. Like you doing all the tricks, you doing backflips on it, you doing handstands, you're doing everything. You down there giving a double hand, triple hand twist, but nothing is working. Wait, we guys. I'm gonna be honest here.
Okay.
But the thing is, my body's not recuperating or not receptive to it because the whole time I'm depressed. So until I deal with the depression, I can't be intimate. And it took me, it really took me to, I was like 25, 26 to realize that anytime I'm depressed, it's going to mess with my sex drive to the point where I just don't want anybody to be, I cannot be intimate with anybody. So back to the question. So how do y'all think, does your mental health affect your sex life, or do you think mental health, whether it's addressed and unaddressed, significantly affects Black men's sex lives?
For me personally, it is the opposite of you. So for me, like so I can be what they call hypersexual, I guess. And that I feel like derives from, just my upbringing and that inferiority complex of like, I need to prove myself. So that's why it's totally opposite for me. But then in the same breath, if it gets too overbearing in my mind, then I'm not performing like I want to. So then it's just a double, like it's a double mess pretty much. It's like I want to prove myself, but I'm so in my head about being inferior, and I shouldn't even have to prove myself to this, and it's not safe. At the same time, it's not safe. But also I'm not performing well because I'm in my head too. So for me, it just kind of like feeds into that inferiority complex of like, you're not enough to be anything beyond a little sex puppet. So that's where it is for me.
I definitely think mental health affects your sex drive, especially for mine. It varies. Like I can say if I'm in a depressive, some days I may not want to see any humans, and the other days I really need physical contact. Like that's a thing. Physical contact is a thing, and sex is physical contact, right? Like there you go. I'm depressed. I'm not putting in all this work. Easiest solution. Or I'm manic and I have these amazing fantasies that we need to do. Like, come on. I got the rigging, right? All of that. But it could also flip. And I think as I've sat with it, and one of my interests is addictive behavioral addictions, rather, is that need for pleasure and release from our minds. The orgasm is one of the best natural stress relievers we have, right? And it's built in. So yes, at certain times, your body's going like, "Hey, I need my Tylenol," right? But then at other times, it's like I can't, and I think it goes into that spiral of inferiority and futility and just disgust with yourself.
And I agree both of you, because there have been times where I have had, sexual intercourse, and I have been trying to, like, I'm about to show you that.
Okay.
I'm pretty much gonna show out. Like I'm finna, and I have to realize that I am not a porn star. Everything that you are seeing in these Pornhub videos on Twitter, made at home videos, I cannot do all of that. I cannot lift you in the air and have sex with you. I am not finna have sex on the balcony outside my apartment because people will see us. And I'm also not finna do a lot of these fantasies that you realize that you want to try out, because at the end of the day, I'm trying to prove a point, because again, it's that inferiority complex coming in. Like, am I really worth more? But do I really need to do all of this just to prove that I'm worth it, right? And so once I kind of realized that, okay, when I do have when I am sad and stuff like that, I need to sit alone, right? I need to heal, right? I need to kind of sit in the moment and feel like, okay, I'm sitting in this moment. What exactly? I call it taking stock of myself or taking inventory. I'm
Hmm.
feeling this emotion. What exactly has happened to make me feel this emotion, or what exactly has changed in my dynamic to make me feel this emotion? And I think as black men and as black boys, because a lot of our black boys are not learning this, is that we often don't take inventory of our mental health or take inventory of ourselves. Like,
Right.
okay, I'm sad today. Why am I sad? Hmm. Well, this happened, and and this is what, and this triggered me to be sad. All right, how long am I going to allow myself to sit in this sadness? Right, because if I let myself linger too long in the sadness, it might turn into depression. And so I used to tell people that sadness, I call sadness to be a 60-second emotion, right? But it depends on the circumstances, and I understand that people move differently. But for me, sadness to be a 60-second emotion. That means I have 60 seconds to allow myself to feel the sadness, right? And then after that, I need to start asking myself, what are we going to do next? What do we want to do
Mm,
differently?
mm,
Because I'm taking inventory, I'm taking stock, and I'm letting myself know that yes, that I am sad, but I cannot let this sadness ride on me because it's going to affect the rest of my day. It's going to affect my work. It's going to affect my performance. It's going to affect a lot of stuff in my life if I let this sadness sit for longer than that 60 seconds I'm allowing myself. Now, other people might need longer, but and that's fine because it's up to you and everybody's different. But for me, I realized that taking this stop lets me kind of be more in the moment, right? Be more tender to my partner, be more self aware as well. So here's my thing, and again, like I said, we're gonna be very raw, transparent, and all that stuff because we're talking about sex. So when we're talking about mental health and we talked about sex, we also need to talk about our relationships as well.
mm.
Are we able to maintain successful relationships with mental health for black men? Do we believe that it is fully possible? Or do you think or what do you think makes it impossible for us to fully have these successful relationships because of this addressed and unaddressed mental health?
I think it's fully possible. It's just depending on the person. And I think that's why dating is important. Like, if you're gonna date me, you need to know that, like, hey, some days I might need to be alone, or like some days I need you to be extra attentive to me, or I'm gonna feel this way. Like, it's all about how you communicate. And some people will not be up for that. Some people will not be up for that radical communication to where you tell them literally everything that they need to know so that they can tend to you correctly. And that's why you have to date people, because some people are not for that, and that is okay. Like, if I am dating you, like, I need you to tell me, like, hey, what's wrong with you? Like, why are you not talking to me today? Like, I need to know that. And if that's too much for you, then we don't need to date. We don't need to be together, because if we're dating and this is a problem, it is only going to be a bigger problem when we are together, and it's only going to create a
Right.
bigger situation. So that's why I think people need to realize the importance of dating. You can't just date people to be like, I want to be in a relationship with you, because baby, I come with a lot. I come with a lot, and I need to know that if I'm too much for you, or if you're okay, if you know what you're signing up for and you're down for the cause. If not, then save yourself and myself the trouble, because then if you don't save me the trouble, it's going to turn into something for me. Okay, it's going to turn into a whole little spiral for me, and I know that about myself. So that's why it's important to date people. But I do think it is fully possible, just to be like, you literally, like, who can take everything that you give.
Okay.
I definitely think it's possible, with the mild disclaimer that I don't think it's possible for two people who aren't at least aware if they have some stuff. Like, if we're just blindly like, that's not gonna work. It's just not gonna work. But at least one person, and then there's like that other one that's willing to learn. But I think, at least for me, what I've noticed is in the beginning of my dating life, I definitely used sex as a way to connect, right? Is to share, to build that intimacy in the relationship, right? It's that whole thing. But what I'm noticing now is a requirement for intimacy outside. I mean, so far outside of sex within a relationship. Like, I need to be able to have a conversation and give you a whole, here it is, this thing that I am just like gutted about. I'm struggling, I am balling, I am whatever. Hold it with me and let's see what we can do. And if we can't do that, then like, why are you here? Because I can do it by myself. So why am I adding your stuff into?
Right.
No, baby, you take that. Godspeed, right? Godspeed. I don't need yours. I got enough. Now, if we can share, we can do that. But yeah, so it definitely takes like communication.
Y'all both have made some good points. Cause I'm gonna tell you now, dating me. I tell people dating me. I don't know. It's somewhere between a prayer and a blessing. You gonna have to pray, but it's a blessing too. But you really gonna pray a lot. Because I'm gonna give you a run for your money probably somewhere down the line.
Okay.
But not in a bad way. Probably depends on the day of the week. But no, but y'all are really saying some important things that you're taking stock again, and you're gonna hear me say that taking stock, taking inventory of that. I come with a lot. This is what a relationship takes to work, and especially when you have mental health issues or that are addressed or regardless they're unaddressed, you know exactly that being in a relationship is going to require this work because we have that mental capacity as well. That's going to be either create a barrier somewhere in between our relationship. Like my ex, we were together for about a good year and a half, and I remember me and my ex used to have these conversations, and I used to call it the five. And so it was like, how are you doing mentally, physically, emotionally, physically, and spiritually? The five. That's what I used to call it. And so every month, just randomly, my ex would never know. I would just ask the five questions like, hey, how are you doing mentally, right? How you doing emotionally? How you doing physically? How you doing spiritually? How you doing emotionally? I think I said that over. But it was because I needed to take stock and make sure that my ex was not dealing with something that I would need to be aware of that we can, do together. And my ex started catching on, would ask me the same thing, like the same questions to you. How are you doing, physically, mentally, emotionally? And I'd be like, well, physically, I'm okay. Like my knee probably was hurting. Emotionally, I'm happy. Mentally, I'm tired because I have all this going on. With this kind of spiritually, my heart is full because God has continued to bless me to see another day. And this kind of go like that. And I think that that's also important as well in these relationships is that we are taking stock of our partners. And that our partners are taking stock of us as well, because that kind of also addresses our mental health. Because with our partners, we lean on them a lot for a lot of things. Like when I'm sad, and my ex learned this about me too. When I'm sick, I'm a baby. I'm just a big baby. Like I want to lay on you. You can play in my hair. I don't really care. I don't have a lot of hair, but you can rub my hair, stuff like that. Rub my back, because right then I kind of regressed to I want somebody to take care of me, and my ex was used to seeing me predominantly lead a lot. But in those moments where I wasn't myself, I was sharing that dominance, because I always told my partner, there's nobody who's submissive or dominance in our relationship. We both share the same role together because both of us can lead and both of us can follow. It depending on the circumstances at heart. And because my ex was used to me being the aggressive one, like to me, and those who know me know that I am a naturally aggressive person, and it's just my demeanor. It's not aggressive to be negative, be rude. I'm just naturally aggressive because that's just how I it just kind of flows off of me, like you can just sense it. But and all that to say is that by us taking stock, my mental health was the greatest it was in the relationship. Like, I didn't have to really worry too much that, if I'm not having a good day, that, I'm being asked, you need to smile, you need to cheer up. A man should be over here crying. I was given that autonomy to cry. I never cried at all. I am not a crier, never been a crier until my first relationship. I actually cried for the first time. I was going through something at work. And for the first time I actually cried because my partner said, you are allowed to cry. And hearing it from like when my mom says it's like, no, you're my mama, you gonna say that. But hearing it from somebody who's like not really related to you, but somebody who you love and you know who you want to be with, and they tell you something like that, you it's just like that breath of fresh air. Like I can fully let my guard down. And like the Rivers of Jordans, I was just in there crying. Okay, I was like, woo, like, but it was so much that's bottled up inside of me that I had to cry. And once I finished crying, I realized that I feel empty, but like a good empty, like a weight was lifted off my shoulder. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm a crier.
Okay, I'm good
I love
for it.
it.
Good
It's
for it.
amazing. It's
I've
amazing afterwards.
I just started letting myself cry. Like recently, you know, about a while ago, and Richard knows the story, you know, about what happened. And I'm not gonna share it on here because y'all don't need to be all up in my business. I'm just gonna tell y'all some stuff. But Richard knows the story
I don't
because
remember the story. I'm like, wait, I don't I do.
we talked about it. You
Oh,
remember?
yeah, I remember. I know.
Yeah.
Sorry. Mhm.
And I still have not cried. It won't come. The tears will not come. And I still feel the sadness in my heart. But other than that, I will not cry for nothing. And I had
That
like this.
come.
I'm like, it's gonna come.
It's
I'm
gonna
like, I don't know.
Mhm.
I'm like, I
You're
don't
gonna, you're gonna be watching TV and it's just gonna come. It's gonna be the most. It be happening to me. I be driving down the street and something I ain't something I ain't cried about yet that's been on my mind. I'll be driving down the street, I'm watching TV, and all of a sudden, why am I crying? So
know.
watch, it's coming.
I know. I'm just like, okay, and I'm not anticipating because it's gonna happen when it happens. But I really realized I was like, yeah, I have not cried yet about the situation. Like I still feel it in my soul, but I haven't cried. And I'm like, should I be concerned? I was like, no, it's gonna come. But it's like when I cry, like I want it to be one of those. I don't want to be one of them gut wrenching cries that one that got you sliding down the wall like you in a Mary J. Blige video. I don't want one of those. Nor do I want one of those cries when I'm in the shower and I'm in the crying because that's just very depressing. I'm like, okay. I said if it's gonna cry, let me cry some like over some food while I'm eating or something. But then people make this thing I'm just crying because the food's so good. You don't gotta look at the thing. Like, no, the nachos were just so delicious. Like that's what I feel like I want to see. But I'm just like I feel it like it's not it hasn't come yet. But you're right, it's gonna come when I least expect it. And I
Mhm.
know it's gonna be interesting because like sometimes I find myself like, you know, when I listen to a good gospel song, right? Um
Mm,
yeah, right, a good gospel song or a good R&B
mm.
song because I'm an R&B country gospel type of guy. Um you know, I find myself like, you know, tears will come like here and there because the song, whatever the song is, you know, one time I was in here teary eyed, listening to H Town knocking the boots, and I don't know why. Don't ask me why of all songs. I'm like, why the hell am I teary eyed to knocking the boots? I should be rejoiced for this song. And it's the weirdest thing. But then I realized the reason why is because I had a good memory with that song. Now ask me what the
Mhm.
memory was, because you know, back in the day,
Lord, Lord
back,
have mercy.
back in the day.
But it's funny. It's funny that you said that because like that's going back to like religion and how like religion plays with my mental health. Like so like I'm not I won't say that I'm like really big on religion. I'm open to all religions and like but for me, because, Christianity is what I grew up on, I am good for going through a lot and turning and leaning to a gospel song and just letting it lead me to tears. I'm good for that. Like, I'm really good for that and just letting it just take me there.
That's
And
good.
then I'll turn on some, secular music, as they say, once I get it out. But it's funny that you said that because I'm the same way.
I think cheers for me have it's been a journey, to be honest. So, like, I'm very much Buddhist, and I talk in metaphors of like journeys, walks, and paths. So, like, bear with me. And I'm naturey, right? So we're going on a hike, but in sitting in the meditation and being with and just being and opening towards the sadness that comes with tears, what I've also found is that same quality of like release and also acceptance and love is embodied in the tears of happiness. Right? Like when I am just like, I am on the edge of an ideation and I'm about to call 988 or whatever that new number is, right? And it's just like, whoo, Lord, right? Like, I'm gonna cry there. And then when I do something amazing or I am just noticing, having a mindful moment, how beautiful the day is, and I just, right? You just a little tear comes out. You're like, what is? It's that same thing. Like, I don't know what it is, but it's, and I love how it's at our lowest and our highest. But I also see how we resist our tears. Like you said, like your tears ain't coming yet. Well, I mean, open to it. Let it come. I think a lot of times we also fight our tears. So for me, tears are the way that my kind of soul cleanses. It just purges, part of the purification process. So if I am holding on to an emotion or a thought or any attachment, once I open and let that attachment go, I'm typically going to cry, and then I feel better. So I feel like sometimes tears are like that exit for the soul. Just come on out.
Okay, I call tears the orgasm of the human body. That ain't an orgasm. Cause after you have an orgasm, it's just like that sense of relief.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, woo, yes, God. That's what I feel like tears are, like the orgasm of the human body. But you're right, and this leads me to a question I've been wanting to ask both of you. What do you do for self-care? What, like, for your mental health? So, like, for instance, for me, like Justice said, music is my self-care. I like to bake too, and so most times if I'm baking, I'm also listening to music. I'll be in this kitchen, I'll be baking, and I have music playing, and I'll be giving a full live concert. You can't tell me that I'm not going to give y'all 3 albums throughout this whole time. We're gonna go from Whitney. We're gonna go to Aretha, and we probably gonna end with some Mississippi Mass Choir somewhere towards the end of it. But it just depends. Like, cause that's my self-care, especially when I'm having, like you said, one of those moments, whether it's an ideation, whether it's a depression or anything like that. My mental health is just one of those things. Justice will come back and join us in a minute, y'all. So what is your self-care look like for you?
So self-care for me, one that I do. I have different levels to it. So I have maintenance that I just do all day, every day. My maintenance is I'm typically listening to some sort of music. Londrell is one of my favorite artists. Like Jill Scott. But my practices of self-care where I am intentionally not just like maintaining myself, but repairing and restoring or cultivating something new is typically a lot of meditation. I'm a yogi, so I'm somewhere folding myself in half. I also love reading, so I'm typically somewhere in the grass, even if it's cold out, with a book and some music. Like yesterday, I spent a couple hours in a hammock in the middle of the woods by a river.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Just chilling, and that's like, all right, it's been a busy week. I don't want to do that, right? No responsibilities. I'm just gonna rock in the wind and let it go.
And I'm sorry I had to leave for a second. My stuff was, I don't know what was going on, but we are back and we are crystal clear. Right. But I did catch that you asked about like what do I do like for self-care.
Yes.
So for me, as a singer-songwriter, it's like second nature. It's literally like what I do when too much in my brain is like, I have too much going on in my brain that I really can't like pinpoint. I'll start writing a song about however I'm feeling, or like whatever situation is going on in my life that has me feeling this overstimulated. It has to go on paper. Like I'm going to write about it. So music is definitely big for me. Like I made a whole album chronicling my mental health journey after being in a unhealthy relationship, like what it looked like, just going through the relationship itself and then the aftercare, if you will. But I'm big on, listening to anything that is going to just, I don't know, feed my soul. I like, people who know me know I'm not big on rap. Like, I'll rap Nicki Minaj's Monster Verse, up and down, but too much rap is just not, it's just not for me. I need, like, because I'm real big on lyrics. So, like, if I'm feeling a certain way, I want not just because I want to, like, feel whatever, to know that, Summer Walker or Janae Aiko or Jill Scott, Erica Badu, I want to know that they were where I am.
I think that's important, like that music piece and the writing piece. So I feel like it's part of that storytelling. Black people, we're storytellers. That's our culture.
Naturally,
from the origin, right? That is, we are storytellers, and listening to the stories of our community or writing our own down has been paramount to my healing, especially in some of the more advanced, like meditative and contemplative practices. Writing is so therapeutic. However you do it, songs, poetry, notes, doodles, right? But yeah, that expression is really important.
Okay.
Definitely. I have a song. Well, it's not really a song. It's like literally like it's like an interlude that is just like it's affirmations, like just reminding yourself, like, you are enough, like you're a bad bitch if you want to be a bad bitch, like, it's that constant reminder of, like, yep, I'm here because I'm supposed to be, and I have a place and I deserve this place. Yeah. Okay.
And we have a word on it.
Right.
So, guys, before we wrap up for the day, I have a fun little thing. Yes, Lord. All right. So before we wrap up, I have a fun little thing. So we've talked about Black men and Black boys' mental health today, and to my viewers out there, I hope you have enjoyed this episode. I hope you enjoyed Richard and Justice being on here. I fuck with them a long way, depending on the day of the week, but I fuck with both of them. But give our viewers, our black men, give them a song. It could be any song. Give them a song that they can listen to, that you believe would get them through anything that they're facing, no matter what it is. I want it to be a song that you believe can kind of address everything.
I gotta find it. The name of it escapes me. Like, I know it, and I think I block it out intentionally so that it comes up as a surprise in my playlist, and it's just like it takes me there every time.
Yeah. So give me a song, and then give me one, because then the reason I'm asking for this is because, one, we've been talking about music, and music has a proven study that music helps with mental health, and music can either lower, or it can lower your emotion, or it can heighten your emotions depending on the music. So that's the reason I'm asking. Give us a song for our black men and our little black boys too, for their mental health, that help them in any situation. I'm gonna tell y'all mine right now. Play with your mama. Because I'm telling y'all, this is my song. I don't know why this is my song. This song was not even made for me, but this is my jam. And let me make sure I get the artist name right, because I pronounce this man's name wrong all the time. But I'm finna tell y'all, because the way y'all be playing this man's song, you would think I wrote it. Carlton, She's a Bad Mama Jamma. Let me tell y'all, that song right there ain't even meant for me. I ain't even nobody brick house. I may be built like a well nice machine, but baby, every time I hear that song, I don't care what I'm doing, I'm about to sing at the top of my lungs in a joy, like I'm back in the 70s. I just did a line of coke, and we in somebody's basement, and we is in here having fun. Baby, I don't know what, but we getting ready to have a blast up in this MF. Okay, that I'm telling you, That is my song, and that's the song I want to recommend. Carl Carlton, She's a Bad Mama Jamma.
Mhm.
I don't know why is that song. I don't know if it's the beat. I don't know if it's the lyrics. Because again, this song is for females. But that song, I don't know. It just gives me like a happy-go-lucky feel. It's kind of like a carefree song. Like every time I hear it, I just want to get up and dance. It was playing last night when I was in the shower. I'm in the shower like I'm back in the 70s at the disco with my grandma. This end of this jamming down. Like the song is new. Every time I hear that song, I don't care what I'm going through. I'm gonna be in there singing that song. My name, I am Vivica Fox from Two Can Play That Game, baby. That is me. When Vivica was walking through that door, when that song was playing, and Vivica was like, "Yes, I'm that bitch." That song to me is I'm that nigga. Anytime I go somewhere, I be like, "Can I have some theme music?" That's the song I want to play. Like I'm that nigga. It ain't
That's so
even,
weak.
that's why I say she's a bad man pajama. No, he's a nigga. That's exactly what it should say for me. Cause that song that's my mental health song. It's that's just it. So what y'all got?
I have a few.
Go for it.
So most of the time, like my song that gets me through like anything will be because I'm going to see him in concert, so I gotta shout out my friend. Duran Bernard has a song called Melody, and it's just like about finding your place, and you'll know when you found your place. Like you know when you found that melody that sticks, that is really going to resonate with you, resonate with other people. Um, yeah, that. Um, so it's a feel good song for me because it reminds me that um, I'm where I'm supposed to be, and if I'm not, I'll get there. Um, and then if I'm tired of a certain someone or a certain species of humans, then I'll play Beyonce's Kitty Cat, so I can go on about my business. uh, it's another one because she just dropped a sensational album, and it's the first track on that album for me. That just reminds me that I'm not that girl, but like you said, I'm that nigga. Like it's that kind of time that I'm on. So yeah, those are my three. Shout out to Beyonce and my friend Duran Bernard.
I think my three would be my all-time favorite artist, Jill Scott. So Golden, by Jill
Mm,
Scott.
Yes,
Like,
come
if I
on.
need a little pick me up or that morning shower song, Golden,
okay.
and right, I'm strutting out the door. But I also like Janae Aiko's "Born Tired."
Mm,
That song,
mm.
whew,
I was born tired. Yes, I
I was
was.
right.
Ugh.
It's everything. That one, and I like "Interference" by Tim's.
Mm,
Interference might make
come
it.
on, Tim. Come on, Tim.
You know why y'all talking about some good songs. Another good one for mental health, and clearly in my past life I was a heartbroken black woman. I don't know, probably. Baby, Kelly Price, you should have told me. Get that right there. That song is. I don't know
Mm,
why, but Kelly Price, you should have told me. That gets me too as well. And baby,
mm.
don't let As We Lay come afterward, because clearly
Come on, Shirley. Come on, Shirley.
the Kelly Price version. Because clearly
Oh,
I'm back.
okay.
Clearly, I don't know why I'm singing that song, but that's some good music.
Mm,
And we just gonna rap it. And but I think all time I'm always gonna go to "I Look to You" by Whitney Houston. That is the one
mm,
gospel song that my friends realized anytime I play that song, I was healing from something. Because it used to
mm.
be Fantasia, "Lose the Wind." Baby, when
Oh,
I go through, baby, as soon as I start singing, "Have you ever needed someone?" Yeah, he going through it. Y'all get this man out the door. He going through a breakup. Like sometimes you got to lose to win again. Nope, we leaving.
mm,
So
That
we leave
mm,
it.
we leaving. Nope. But
mm.
I thank y'all for sharing these song suggestions because I've never heard Tim's Interference. I never heard Duran. How you say his name?
Durand,
Duran.
Durand Bernard.
But Duran Bernard. I never really heard his music before. I've seen him perform on the Terrell Show, but I never really
Hmm.
heard his music. So like, I love me to add this to my playlist because this, if these are songs that y'all are recommending, then I'm like, of course, Jill Scott Golden. You know, I've heard it before. I'm not a big Jill Scott.
Okay.
I'm not a big Jill Scott fan, but
Ah,
Uh,
I don't know the Beyonce either. Sorry,
ah!
it's okay.
I think
Because
I'm having issues with my. I think I'm having issues with my signal.
it's okay though. Let me tell you why. Because everybody's music taste, I think, fits their personality. Like, and I'm a very old school type of guy. So Kelly Price, Shantae Moore, Monica, you know, those are the type of girls. Brian McKnight, Usher, you know, Aretha, Patty. I love me some Jasmine Sullivan. I love what
Oh,
another
you know
man
it.
and
You
Love
know
Another
it. You know
Man
that's
got me
my
through
girl.
high
You know.
school. I don't know why I'm a man saying about and Love Another Man in high school, but that song was just so emotional. Jasmine Sullivan just a note so much in her music that you feel like you're going through it with that
Mm.
person. So Jasmine Sullivan, Pick Up Your Feelings, Lost One, you know, all this good
Mm.
music. Music really is great for your mental health.
mhm.
And
Mm.
I'm gonna be listening to most of y'all suggestions. Probably when I go out shopping later because I have the headphones in just for a feel good song. Um, so this has been a wonderful. So my last
Mm.
question is give give our viewers, our young black boys and black men, a takeaway, something they can take with them that they can carry with them. You know, from today's episode, what will be your takeaway?
Um, you have the power. Don't let nobody take away that power. You are your own power. You are your own light, and don't let nobody dim that light. Um, it's okay to be happy. It's okay to be happy. It's okay to be joyful. It's okay to be kind. It don't cost anything to be anything above that I've mentioned above. So don't let nobody take that away from you, and that's my takeaway.
Yes. Okay.
I think mine would be you belong no matter where you are because you are there. You belong, and there is no need to justify or define your value. You belong.
Say
Mm,
that. Yeah.
say that. Whew. Well,
Mm.
to my viewers at home, to everybody who has watched this recording, I want to thank y'all. I want to thank our guest speakers, Richard and Justice, for being here today. This episode, it really does mean a lot to me, so I'm glad I was able to bring in some of my fellow brothers to have this conversation. Like they said, you are not alone. Black man, we love you. For another black man, you know, I love you as well. Remember that you are always loved by somebody. Um, and that's just that. So give me one
Mm.
second.
Gosh.
Tell me what you're gonna do when you need a little